Cool. I believe we're live. Need to figure out my lighting situation because the camera's freaking out a little bit. Let's see if we can do. Try to jerry rig something real quick. No, I can't do that. Let me try to adjust this lighting because the camera started zooming or like focusing and unfocusing right as I was going live. Yeah, there it goes. Give me one sec. Try to prop my makeshift light up on something real quick. This might work. Oh shit. Yeah, that's better. Now let me find something to diffuse it. That's better. We'll go with that. All right. I'm going to turn my RAID sound up a little bit so we can hear the music. All right, there we go. Two days on that. 2 days on champion training. Artifact in 6 hours. Jesus Christ. Yeah, unfortunately, I can no longer finish this. I can't get that 4-star chicken though. This is not considered an ideal or optimal place to farm. I'm simply doing this because I'm trying to get the clan quest done for rare shields. I believe I still need 1 or 2, and you can only do that on boss stages. This is the chapter 11, right before the final one you typically farm, and that boss can like proc his passive, and Fellhound can get unlucky and get one shot and it failed. This one can't fail, so that's why. Sorry, I'm dealing with one monitor, so it just cut your audio. I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and share the stream link to my Discord real quick. I'm going to get that monitor issue, second monitor, as soon as I can, so that audio doesn't cut out when I switch windows, so I apologize for that. But for now, it is what it is. Just going to do it again for 1 second. There we go. Last one. Then we do commons. There we go. It's hard. My mic arm needs to be a little bit longer, so sometimes I catch myself hunching to get down to the mic. I just need to move closer to the desk and pull the mic up. Damn. Wish that was a defense banner, for Christ's sake. Sorry, Lysandra. We are going to farm you. That's pretty tough because that rarely happens. Oh, I didn't even notice Tormund. What the hell? How did I not notice? That's really weird. We will go back and clap the frig out of that team with the Venus Cupidus team. It's a longer battle, but got it done. God. Weirdly, Seeker took no damage. That's probably a wrap for them. Wrap for UDK. That honestly is maybe one of the tankiest Seekers I've ever seen. He's clearly got decent defense, and that is a lot of HP on a Seeker. Try it. Yep, it is not going to work. They cut us. Where do we even go? Anyway, yep, and we're dead. This one should be pretty easy. Perfect. I was going to say if they outspeed us, Astral Arm probably does work, especially with no one on this team. all of them being good affinity or neutral for Astralon, but we beat him barely. I'm noticing as I like glance over that the camera is still. Let me take off this like diffusion. The camera's still freaking out a little bit. I don't like that as much, but I don't know why the camera is acting like it's too low light, so I'm going to take that away. Yeah, it seems move around a little bit. It does seem like it just needed more light to know what was in focus. Second stream, so still figuring out the camera and just the logistics of it a little bit. Alright, there we go, and we got the arena daily done. Summon 3 champions. I do want to summon mysteries. Maybe quite a few, depending on once I do the breakdown of how many points I need, because I don't think I want to pull many sacreds. I'm not going to say none yet, but ideally it would be none for this champion chase. And annoyingly, I think I have 98 fragments of, what's his face? Uros, the Soul Cage from Dim Tower Hard. And I don't know if I can beat another, which is one more secret room, without building a team. So I probably just need to try to do that, because that's 500 points pulling him, and I really want him to farm Scarab. How many 1 stars did I have? No, okay. Sorry, audio real quick. Kind of wish I wouldn't do that, but I guess it's... If the game's no longer the active window, it just mutes it. Seeing if I have an uncommon champion in here somewhere. No luck. Can we pull one? Please be uncommon. Quite common. So now we want 5. I don't remember if that's 3 or 4. Oh, blue, that's tough. I don't really want to use blue, but okay. Yeah, that was 4. Okay, good. Golden. Let's get her up to 4. I'm excited to finally be able to use some of my food. I don't have a ton, but as you can see, I have a good amount, like moderate amount. But I want the space back because I have not upgraded my storage space for Champions in forever because it's expensive as hell. 2 Demon Lord keys. We're not stacked, are we? 34 minutes. Okay. Kind of need to do one. Yeah, there I am for Nightmare. Run this for a minute. Also, next, probably I need to check the requirements for the fragments in the champion chase. For anybody who could potentially watch this after, who is not in chat right now, this is a Foo Myth team. It has a couple names, but to make this team work, a lot of people in Raid know this team, but I'm not going to pretend like anybody who might stumble across this video or this stream is going to not have any questions. So you need the guy in the middle, Legendary Lizardman Fushan, no other legendaries. There's a Void Epic. And then rare here. Excuse me. And the 2 on the left are both epics. Seeker's really common in Ultra Nightmare Clan boss teams because of a big Terminator fill. And increased attack. Which is really, really important for attack-based champions on a clan boss team. It'll drop your damage by a ton to lose the increased attack buff. But to make this team work, you need Demitha. You need the 3 on the right, from middle to right. Demitha, Eris. Demitha's here, Eris. And then, sorry for that notification sound. Let me see if I can turn that off, actually, because I think that came through the stream. Fushan in the middle. There are variations on this team, but the Fu Myth comes from Fushan and Demitha. And Eris and Demitha usually pair. There is a team without Fushan that has like Deacon, but Fushan does a ton of damage. So that's the clan boss team I'm currently using. Let me see if I can turn off. Bear with me. Yeah, it's going to cut out the audio, of course. Why not? Does that turn off Raid? No. Perfect. That should eliminate the notification sound. It's not a huge deal, but it's a pet peeve of mine when that comes through on a stream. I don't like it. But this team, since it may as well make conversation, since we're just watching a clan boss run, which for a lot of raid players is probably the last thing they want to be watching. You do need pretty beefy builds on as many people as you can. I guess that's a rule across clan boss teams, but if you're like me, I was trying to build a team / this team to just hit the 1 key threshold. I wasn't trying to stack a ton of amazing gear on a clan boss team just because it's kind of like you don't touch those champions anymore. Some of them aren't super useful in other content because all they need in a block damage team is a certain speed, and then they work and the clan boss can't kill them until turn 50. So like Demitha actually has a good build. That was mostly coincidence, but Eris is fragile as shit. So is Anax, the damage dealer in the middle left here. So and then Seeker's too damn slow. So they're not really useful anywhere else. With that being said, that is the reason, or one of the reasons, that I don't want to stack really good speed or damage gear on them. But Anax has a really good build, very slow, doesn't have Savage, because I got it done without Savage, and I need Savage for PvP and other, you know, Hydra, for Christ's sake. Almost need it more in Hydra than PvP now. Fushan has a decent build. Maybe in Savage, but I think definitely in some Cruel. He has accuracy as well for debuffs. And then Demitha and Eris are really fast. So this is probably a late mid-game or late game team to build. Unless you have really weak builds, it's generally considered always a 1-key. It is possible to have people not mastered or in like very not crit capped builds and go below it, especially on the wrong affinity for your DPS. But this team now, it never misses, and a lot of the damage comes from Anax, who's green affinity. So like on blue affinity, for example, Fushan being red, being forest, just picks up the slack, and it works fine. And it's a very accessible for like people who pay attention to the game. Mega casuals, maybe not, or people that don't farm much gear, or who aren't sure if they're throwing away the right gear, blah blah blah. But if you're a little bit methodical in the game, the speeds are a little high for 2 of them, but it's not too bad. We're gonna go ahead and end that now though, because that's plenty over what we need for brutal. And I just don't want to stack keys, so we're good now for a bit. Now let's go check this event and see. I just like to clear all my red dots. I know that I'm not alone in that, at least. Dungeon Divers I'm not too worried about. I feel I will get a chunk of that just from doing the Ice Golem, which I'm going to be specifically targeting, and then once I'm done with that, I'll check in on Dungeon Divers. Again, I feel like that's how a lot of people are going to be doing it. Okay, so tournament is where Champion Chase is, yes. So 2,500, that's not bad at all. I mean, it's only 10, like it's 15 total at 10. Is the Champion Chase event? No, sorry. Champion Chase is always a tournament. The Summon Rush, yeah, I guess the Summon Rush is traditionally harder, but this feels easy. This feels like low. So that's like if you were only going to pull Sacreds, that's 5 Sacreds. And then if you pull Voids, basically 4 Sacreds is almost, 4 Voids is almost a Sacred, if I remember right. I think it's 120. Wait, no, that's not what, no, that's not what I want. Yes, it is. Where, how do you see the... No. See, I'm mixing the two. I'm mixing Summon Rush and Champion Chase. So this is 50 for... Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So... Yeah, I definitely was mixing Summon Rush. This is one where you get it. And I know this. I'm just... My brain is cramping right now. This is where you get it for the rarity of champion that you pull. So it's really brutal on shards like Sacreds that will give you a guaranteed 250, but that doubles the number of Sacreds, obviously, since the legendary is 500, that you would need to pull if you were pulling only Sacreds. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of feels like a bad gamble. If you are able to pull Sacreds in a Summon Rush, it does not matter if you get all epics. You'll get 500 per Sacred because it's shard points. This is a champion rarity points. So with that being said, it's a lot. 2,500 doesn't seem like I'm not going to complain about it, but since we're not even guaranteed for any shard getting 500 a pop like you are in the Summon Rush, that's a little steeper. So I guess probably we're just going to need to pull a good amount of stuff and hope for the best. But I need to make some space, so grind out a little more champion training maybe. I'm going to throw, you guys definitely have or should have seen this because I've been doing this for a while, but it feels like every major summit event content creators put out, you know, what is it, like life hack for champion training, max champion training with ease with this method or whatever. This is basically it. Like I have a certain number I do depending on how many stars the rank is. But with 4 stars, I'm putting 5 brews if I have them, and I usually do. And it gives you a ton of points. Because for only 5 brews, which is 35,000 silver, you get 23 levels. And then after that, you start to get really like depreciating value for any level based on energy you're spending to level in a campaign or silver you're spending to level with brews, because the higher the level, the more XP it takes, and therefore the slower it is. So that's 23 levels for 35,000 silver and some brews is really, 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 really good to just kind of like passively stack up your points as you're trying to do this. Because if you don't do that, I mean, just for one 5-star, you're giving up like 80, literally over 90 levels. So it's like getting close to 100 levels you're giving up by just throwing a 4-star level 1 food into a 440. And it's the same for 5 stars. With 5 stars, I put 7 in because of the way that the XP, it like goes right up to, if you do like 5 or 6, it goes right up to a level, and it's like a small chunk of XP away from hitting the next level. So I just go ahead and hit add a brew, and six brews did the same thing, and then the 7th brew ticked over and gave you like 2 levels. Even though it's not 2 full levels, it gave you the value of 2 numerical levels for that 7th brew. So I do 7 brews on 4 stars. And to be honest with you, if that's not your thing and you're like, you just want to play, you don't really care about min-maxing and all that, more power to you, not a problem. You can just kind of ignore this. But a lot of the content that I've consumed as an avid YouTuber for Raid and just YouTube in general, I'm left with questions. Very hard, obviously, to get a comment and actually get it answered. So I'm just explaining what I feel are the relevant details for what I'm doing on screen for anybody who's interested or watches it. And if it's not your thing, then thanks for being here, and you can just kind of tune out the more meticulous details until you see something on screen that you are interested in, like maybe Hydra or Shards or whatever. I mean, I'll show you in a second, because it's going to be just from, like, I have not ranked up. Well, we rank, like, since I just checked it, I have not ranked up anyone like a full rank. Or I guess I don't need to say it. I have not leveled up anyone a rank. I've only done this, like, throw 5 little void brews at these, and it's going to give us a chunk. And I'll show in a sec. I actually think I need some 440, so some of these might be getting brewed all the way up. But, like, let's just, is it an event? Let's just see. Like, see, we were sitting like right around here somewhere, I think. So we've gotten almost 1,000 points. Let's say we were sitting around 500, and now we're almost 1450. Almost 1,000 points from what you just saw me do. Just throwing 5 little void brews into 4-star level 1s. Because, like, ranking up 330s is definitely a viable, it's definitely viable points in a champion training, but I don't have the room, nor do I want to pay the gems. I don't even have enough energy for one more rank up of, like, my champion locker, but I don't want to spend the gems. So it's a situation where it's not valuable enough for me to keep 330s sitting there waiting for champion training, because they're taking up too much damn space. So what I do is I make them 4s. Sometimes if I'm like, dude, I have like 2 or 3 5-star 50s with the food ready to just be ranked up, then maybe I'll go ahead and make some 5 stars, but usually I stop at 4 stars, and then I'll either like make 440s during the champion training, or I'll make them and then hold both 440s and 4 stars, and I hold them at level 1. There's no point to do the levels before. You should only really do the bruise method when you're in a champion training, and if it's a champion training you're already crushing, then you may not even do the brew method, just because you know you're going to get the points, and it's about conservation. You'll conserve the brews for the next time where there's some brutal champion training on an absolute must-have champion, and then use it then. Whatever. It's like a whole freaking meta, and it can get involved. The game can get about as involved as you want or will tolerate, if that's the route that you go. So let me see. I don't have any... Horden's borderline food, but until I get Dark Fae reliably farming, I'm going to hold him, because there are some teams that work with him. Let me think. How many of these did I level up to 23? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's just do one more. That's an even 12. And then we need to make 3 440s. And there's some about to go to 4. That's perfect. That's perfect. Although I say it's perfect, but those are... I don't know. Those are in my Ice Golem team, and I'm not going to really farm Ice Golem on stream probably. So let's grab this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. That's 12. And now... let's go ahead and take you to 330. You can be 1 4-star. You can be 1. And you can be 1. Useless. Oops. Clicked off my window. So there we go, and then upgrade level. This is going to bleed me pretty dry on voids. I have so many voids, but that's because my void potions were like my void brews, excuse me, were way over all the other ones, and now the voids are getting really low because I've done this enough times in a row that it's catching up. Let's do you and you. Upgrade level. 1 more. I already have Reliquary Tender. I already have... yeah, we'll do a Pankeeper. And okay, that's perfect. No. Upgrade level. Find the one we just did. There you are. Absolutely obliterate the last few void brews, and bada bing, bada boom. So I'm going to do it. It probably is advisable to do chickens first, but the thing is that you can save chickens without taking up any space. A lot of people probably know that and keep them because of that, and I'm going to do that because I need the space right now to pull shards. So I'm going to go ahead and do actual champions first. The thinking behind doing chickens first is that the chickens can't be brewed or get you any more points than they're worth, so you may as well just use them now. And the champions could be you could continue to level them up to like a 440, and then either use chickens or other champions later. It's whatever though. It's like I think a really minor. Just want to check since I'm talking while I'm doing this that I don't have anybody accidentally in there that shouldn't be there, and then I cry after I feed them and they're gone forever. So there you go. That's 26 levels on a 5-star, which is worth even more than on a 4 than the levels on a 4-star are worth. It's just straight raid balling. Checking my Discord real quick. Yeah, let me respond. This is a viewer. Ah, thank you, Brojo. Okay, so you are in chat. Let's try this. So the chat, I guess the OBS that I was looking at is desynced, which is really annoying. Let me see if I can get chat up. I'm so sorry to leave you. I like engaging, and so that was I had been checking, but I wanted to stay focused on stream and didn't want to keep clicking off on my one monitor setup and making the audio disappear. Let me find this dude. Chat. All right, I can see your chat now. You're in chat. That was actually a me issue, my man. I can see the chat now. Let me actually move it. Perfect. Now I can see everything. Sorry about that. How long have you been chatting? I'm gonna assume for like 20 minutes. It obviously wasn't deliberate, but my apologies because that's kind of a bummer. I'm glad it wasn't something worse like accidental private chat or something like that. Yeah, man. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to catch up on what you said now. Game audio makes it hard to hear you by the... Okay, so it's... Shit. Okay. Thank you for saying that. That's very helpful. It's almost impossible to monitor myself, so... Tell me, that's a lot lower in my headset, but my headset is not a replication of exactly what you can hear, so let me know, because I wanted to see if we could get a little bit of the raid ambience, but if we can't, we can't. Since the arena part. Well, now I know. And I suspected it, but I didn't know how to test it. I probably just should have brought up both chat options. No ambience, really. So that dropped it so far you can't hear it. Let's just play with it. Since you're giving me feedback, I'll take it. What about that? It's fine if it cuts it out where you can't really hear it when I'm talking, but when I'm not talking like this. Of course, that's where the music's really quiet. The music like dropped out. What the heck? It just died. Yeah, it literally died. I moved the volume and it kicked back on. Okay, we'll say just let me know if it sounds too quiet or too loud. I put it back where it was on my test. Okay, so yes, so you kind of already know what you're talking about because that everything I'm seeing is correct. What you're saying, any one-man events that should be avoided. For me, no. For like, okay, depends on who you have. Depends on who you have ready to go. Like you could have a champion but not have them built. The Paragon one-man defense. Or stone skin on like a Gaius or I've seen a low level Mountain King for like an early game player that can be brutal because he's just such a beast. And then if they put all their best gear on him, then he's like he can just one shot your champions one at a time before you can even kill him. But like a stone skin Mortu Macabre, those ones are like kind of like almost like corny, if that makes sense, because they are. You can counter them, but they're playing to people who either just like spam click it. They're like, oh, one man and click it. And then like, oh my God. But usually if you're fast enough and you have control of some sort, crowd control or turn meter control in your team, most of those are non-factor because they'd have to kill all of your champions, especially your nuker, before they get multiple turns. So no, and even like let's say you have a 700 resist Paragon, which some people seem to do. Um, yeah, exactly. Rotos comes in for Paragon or any block revive or any not block revive, any ignore unkillable will work. There are other ones like Genbo would make light work of a Paragon, but the thing is that sometimes people rely on stripping the unkillable and then you can't because you get unlucky or because it's like a 90 something percent once you get to a certain high level of resistance with people with high mid to high accuracy. Then even if they don't have a 95 or 97% chance, let's say it's an 80% chance, that's still a really good chance to continue to resist you taking the buff away. So anyway, but let me go back. Let's see, you said I don't know if these are showing, but they were showing. I just didn't have the correct chat window up. And then sitting at 200. That was a while ago, but you said sitting at 200. Oh, on the champion chase, I'm guessing. Then, you responded as I was saying, probably when I was doing the clan boss run, 1150 to 2500 points for the 2 sets of fragments, not 5 sacreds. Yes, as I got to, and then yes, ancients. I don't have that many ancients, but 50 to 100 ancients is just always awesome. Mysteries are better for any viewers. Again, just to confirm, Brojo is correct because mystery shards are only ever worth 1 in a summon rush, which is why. So the fact that the points value is tied to shards is what makes summon rush better for both voids and sacreds, especially sacreds in my opinion. But voids some people would argue voids are a more valuable shard outs like in general, not just in summon rush events. But because you get the maximum number of points possible to get for a sacred shard on every sacred shard pulled in a summon rush, and you only get the maximum number of points possible for a sacred shard if you pull a legendary during a champion chase, then it's better to wait and pull sacreds when you always get you get the maximum points for every shard. By the same token, on the flip side, mystery shards also have a value tied to a shard, and it's 1 point during a summon rush. So a sacred is going to be worth 500 every time you pull it on a summon rush, and sometimes 250 on a champion chase. A mystery shard is going to be worth 1 point every mystery shard you pull on a summon rush, but it could be worth, I think it's 2. No, it's still 1 if you get a comment in like 5 or 10 if you happen to pull a rare, which if you're pulling like a few hundred to 1,000, which some people, I've done it, like sometimes you got to grind to get it done, and you pull like 500 to 1,000, 750, whatever mysteries, you will get a few rares, so you will accumulate more points pulling them in a champion chase than in a summon rush. Yeah, 10 for rare. Oh, champ storage sitting at 200. Yeah, mine is, you probably saw it if you were looking, but I got 270 in the regular vault, 260, and so I have 10 spots here. Actually, I'm probably gonna move some champions real quick, and then I did like a few upgrades. Actually, that's like a handful, right? Didn't it start at 50 or 60 for the reserve vault? Now I have 110. But anyway, let me find some. I hate moving champions though, because I actually sort of keep track of the ones that I usually have in one place or the other, and just move 550s. And so then what happens is I do these events. No, let's move the cold heart. Okay, that works. And I'm like, wait, where's my, whoever I just moved over? Like, where's my Vlad? Even though I don't use Vlad, whatever. But yeah. Yeah, I didn't ever use silver. I don't think. Maybe a couple times. All right, no worries, man. I use gems. Just because, like, right now, it's 11.5 million, if I remember correctly. Wait, let me go down. I have mine fairly organized, but it's also organized for me, right? So 11.5 million. I don't even possess that much silver right now. I'm constantly doing little things with silver, so I rarely just go, I'm not going to spend silver. And Hydra just is a constant passive drain on your silver because you're always tweaking people or building a new champion or going, oh, that gear piece is at 12 and they need more HP, so may as well take it to 16 or whatever. But I don't even have enough silver right now if I gave up all my silver. And I'm not really trying to give up all my silver anyway. So I just am trying to deal with what I got. Like, maybe if I ever get the content creator pack and get free gems, but beyond that, I'm kind of good with how I'm at now. Nice. That's really good. I am like, if I see 15 million, that's a lot for me. I don't even think that I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, at some point you got to go with your experience, right? I'm literally 13% of a level away from 100, so I've been playing for a minute. Obviously, there's some people that have been on level 100 for probably a year, but I'm still not super confident in my methods for like processing gear, from getting it, evaluating it, rolling it to 4, rolling it to 8, whatever. So there are probably some that my idealistic mind rolls to 12 and says this could be really good, and then it's not, and I throw it away, and technically I waste the silver, because up until after about level 8 you're wasting silver if you end up throwing it away. Definitely if you go to anywhere above 12. So for whatever reason, I'm usually hovering around 5 million to like 12 million. It's just how the game is for me. I really don't know how people stockpile silver. Yeah, and that's another problem for me, is I have trouble selling artifacts, so I've like never sold 800. But anyway, I'm going to see now. I guess I have plenty of... Let me think. Because I want to do the flashy shard pulling now, and then maybe like I can grind mysteries off stream or whatever, because that's not really fun at all to pull a bunch of mystery shards. There he is, 98. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to find a secret room that I can beat. I've only got 3 options, I think. No, 2 options now, so I did really good. It's just, unfortunately, these 2 are kind of a bitch. And this guy, he's an attack champion, but his kit doesn't really help me. I built him for twins and didn't even use him. I mean, I guess that... No, 100% little decreased defense. That's actually fucking good. That's good. So, okay. So then... I think my Kyle still has gear. If we're calling that gear. Something. Yikes. He can't have all his pieces. Hold on. There's no way. Is there? Yeah, he does. So he still has 4-star pieces from when he was a starter. That's hilarious. That'll do it as far as where his stats were lacking. But he still does something, so... I don't like that room. The other room is high elves, though. Which might be worse. Because there's like 9 ethoses to deal with. I have good champions here, they're just not leveled. Let's see if Shermani has enough. I highly doubt she has enough accuracy. Gotta have Arbiter in. Hey, welcome back. I'm trying to cheese this without building anyone else. I don't think it's going to work. It has not worked at any point up until now. What is your gear like, Reliquary? Reliquary. Terrible. I'm literally wearing like half of her clothes. Let's try this. I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to even manual it to give it its best shot, but I'm not hopeful. What? I beat... is for the attack room, I beat everything on this rotation, some for the first time, other than all rare attack champions, which is just a toxically bad room. And ooh, that's nice. Okay, we might can do it if we can freeze a lot of people. And then what was I gonna say? So the HP champions only was one room that I beat for the first time, maybe ever. There's 2 rotations that have an HP room. and then what was the other one? It's this one. Yeah, so this one, high elves, and then the rare attack champions. So he landed on everybody. So maybe we just got lucky because Alexander has a bill with enough accuracy, but I did not think that he had. He doesn't have books, so I don't think he's at a 75% chance. This might work. Yeah, the hard ones are so much harder than normal that now that I like have obviously progressed my account to the point of having a lot of champions to choose from, the normal rooms I can just about throw whoever I want in and clear them easily. The hard rooms are very hard. Yeah, and there you go. There you go. It's over. Like, oh my god. So Jesus Christ. It's just so annoying. There's so much high damage in the. They just buffed Bellinor, so now he does an AoE. And the dude is like crushing all of my. Like that. She absorbed 47,000. And he just knocked the shit out of her. I really want to pull him for the champion chase, though. Yeah, really. Dude, that's what I'm... Okay, so plan B. Let's see what she needs. Yeah, chest. Let's see if we can find an accuracy. I think I gave her the fastest thing, but I definitely need to give her... What, HP? Yes and no. What are her gloves? HP, so defense chest is better. So you say, as an almost max, would I choose Lydia, Arbiter, or Mithral like as my favorite? No, there's not an ally attack. Yes, there is. Lenothril, I deliberately avoided his fusion because he's god-awful. So I don't have him. He's an ally attack elf. Oh, Lydia. Lydia. Oh, okay. See that? Okay, I always catch myself when I think of or answer or see other people answer these questions. I do think Lydia by a long shot. But if you need someone in arena, she's not like, you just don't need her, to be honest. Like, she's very good in arena. Very good in arena defense with the right kind of build. I would argue that if you build her in arena defense well, she's going to be a kind of built wrong for other areas of content, including Hydra. But Arbiter is way more valuable if you're trying to get a go first speed farm team with Arbiter having all your fastest gear, period, on the account. Then Arbiter is going to be the most bang for your buck because you will literally use that team 95% of the time that you go to farm medals for your Great Hall. So pure use, you will use Arbiter more, I would argue. Maybe even after you get both, and you're like me, I still use Arbiter more. Well, okay. Until I got, you saw my team now has Lady Kimmy. Up until I got Lady Kimmy, which is just a random pull, there's not any way to get her guaranteed like the three you mentioned, then I was always using Arbiter as my speed lead for my farm team. So she was getting used hundreds of times a week or whatever. And Lydia definitely isn't. But Lydia is like, there's no replacement for her in a Seer team, which even if you don't have one now, there's nothing wrong with getting the champions to build to that. She's very good in Clan Boss. Like in Hydra, there's so many situations she's good in. And even if you don't have a Seer team, just put her in with that strengthen buff and that increased speed, putting her in a Doom Tower team that's just kind of chipping down the waves or whatever is also good. Yeah, it's a huge upgrade over Lysandra because Arbiter... Let's compare. Let me find a chest plate and I'll show you the difference. Oh god, I'm gonna go ahead and sort this because Jesus Christ. I don't want to search through all those for defense. I would like one with speed, please. If that exists on my account. Oh my god. She has a 252 speed, that's just so slow. No, that's not what I meant to do. That doesn't even have speed. What the hell? I do not have a single. That's crazy. Not a single defense percentage chest plate with speed on it in Perception. I guess we just give the one with HP then. Or maybe accuracy. Does it have HP on it too? Not really. So what is that? That's adds 1545. That adds way more. Okay. Just throw that on her. Anyway, okay, so let's go to the index and show you. Lysandra, 24% speed lead. That is, let's see, I'm going to check up on your message real quick, because debating actually 6 draft from Madam, lean towards Breaker for Farming Arena. I think, so here we're going to break down why. This is a 6% difference. Arbiters is only for Arena, granted, but it's 30%. That's huge. Because A, you have people like Lysandra whose base speed is technically higher than this will be slightly more than 24 speed for her. So then it's even more than just 6 speed. If you have somebody who's over 100, that gets a 30% aura, and then you can have these blessings now that increase the aura, and you can also have masteries that give them, well, the masteries don't really affect the aura, but they give them, like, you know, multiplicatively slightly more speed or whatever based on their base speed, and then that factors, the aura then factors into that and gives you, so you don't increase the aura with your masteries, but you do increase your build's speed, which then adds the aura onto it, which makes it faster than if you had an aura that's 6% less. But this is like whatever in Arena. I'm sure that at some levels you could get use out of it. There's a lot of skills that are like whatever once you get to the high end, but they're useful at other times. This is more useful, I think, but she'd have to have really high accuracy, and if you have her as your fastest person, you aren't prioritizing accuracy, so it's like a luck thing, 50-50 at best. Then the increased speed, I don't remember if Arbiter does that, but it says filling ally turn meters by 30% decreases. That decrease is nice, but again, if you have her built for enough accuracy to consistently rely on that, you're probably not getting the speed that you would get just ignoring accuracy and building an Arbiter. So two things. It's a little bit out of the meta now, but you used to could build an Arbiter Lysandra team because you could build Lysandra slower, focus on accuracy, have Arbiter speed boost to where they can't be cut. But if we go and look at, that's a little bit out now because there's so many tanky, high resistance, blessing-based go second defense teams that you have to kill the first turn. Maybe you can get 2 if you have a Kymar, which you wouldn't have a Kymar probably if you have Lysandra and Arbiter in a team. But this is actually very useful, way more useful than Lysandra's in Arena, in my opinion. Then you have the, let's see, attacks on enemies. That, you're not relying on it, but you might have a little bit of accuracy, and you might knock something like, you might knock an unkillable off of Leorius or something like that with this ability, because you can knock buffs off of people that don't have any resist. Excuse me. So she fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, does not drop the turn meters of enemies, but the thing is that because she doesn't, you can be almost like more okay mentally with being like, okay, I'm not going to put any accuracy on her because the weaken whatever, it's nice when it lands, the buff strip whatever, it's nice when it lands. Then this revive, obviously Lysandra does not have anything like this. Giving her an extra turn means that sometimes when she revives, she'll immediately go into this, which will heal and get increased attack. And that's the other thing, is you got her aura, a revive, better utility on her A1 and her A2, no turn meter drop on enemies, so you don't need the accuracy for that, / you don't need to just ignore a significant part of Lysandra's move by ignoring accuracy on Lysandra, and this also puts increased attack. Lysandra doesn't have increased attack. So I think you were getting there when you said the thing about maybe Breaker for Farming Arena if Arbiter's that much better, because Breaker's attack based, and right now you're using Magnar, who's not. Obviously Arbiter doesn't help Magnar by buffing his attack, but with so many options in Arena, you can be okay with the fact that Arbiter not helping Magnar doesn't make him any worse, because Lysandra is not buffing him either right now. But it will make every attack person you do, whether it's attack debuffers or attack nukers, it'll make them perform better as well. All right, so what was the Me Too for? The Me Too chat. And then this last message, 254 speed. What level are you? Account? Because I'm not going to be judgmental of people's stuff. If they ask me for help and I feel like they're really lacking in an area, I'll mention it. But like, I'm not judgy of builds and stuff like that. Chess piece did not fit. Yeah. 70. Yeah. So, I mean, 254 speed. Sorry, let me change my headset battery real quick. 254 speed seems. I love this headset because of how quickly and easily I can do this. And I always have another battery ready and charged unless I'm too lazy to put it in the charger, which I'm not. So, 254 speed seems good. I think it took me a while to break 300 speed, and then it took me a while to break 350. So 250 accuracy, I'm going to be honest with you, until super lately, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have the gear on the wrong people, and I prioritized my best gear on the best people for their role. So accuracy and speed gear on people who need accuracy and speed. I was getting away with like 350 to 370 or something like that in goal 4 and 5 on people. So accuracy is weird. If you know to like avoid the teams that are probably going to have a crap ton of resist and just make your life hell with trying to speed farm, just don't attack those teams. But 250 actually will get you surprisingly far now in gold, because there's so many people that have some bizarre defense that is just, they don't care, or maybe they're trying to let people farm them a little bit without it being a one man. I don't know. But accuracy, and I feel like people have mentioned this in Discords that I've seen, that they're like, gold used to be a lot harder. You needed like, people will always say braggadociously, you know, that they're like, oh, I have a 700 accuracy, Madam Saris or whatever. But people would say, I feel like that you need like 500, 600 accuracy. You do not need that right now. Like, I'm dealing with an increased accuracy buff from Kimmy, which is very nice and definitely noteworthy. But like Kymar 504, that was recently me building him to have a ton so that I didn't have to worry about hardly anybody. I could try to strip duchesses or whatever once, because 504 won't strip a duchess, but 504 plus Kimmy's makes him have 750, 760. So that will, before he was rebuilt, I think he was at like 390, and that's at level like 80 to 90, if that makes sense. So I won't like beat a dead horse, but you get what I'm saying? Like 250 at your level seems like you probably will land most of it. You just have to be aware of, oh no, I lost my camera. Damn. Let me see if it's just giving me a warning and it'll turn back on. Hold on. Yeah. I think your chat came through delayed, but I did see that I lost my camera. I have to get a dummy battery. Shit. Okay, it's probably going to cut again. Sorry for that being fairly unprofessional, but I'm working with what I can work with and just trying to get started. Anyway, yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm gonna ditch that so that it's not. Give me one sec. I will turn that off so it's not looking ugly as fuck. There we go. So sorry, lose face cam, but we'll just go with the game for now. Actually, I think I can do. Let's see. Bear with me. Yeah, I got a full screen raid. Perfect. All right. Except that it is somehow like the wrong size. Hold on. There we go. It was cutting off the bottom. Okay. So, what was I saying? I don't remember. The speed seems like I would try to push a little bit higher if you can, but I think if you have accuracy built on her and you go like total speed with an arbiter and don't worry about even 250 accuracy, you might be able to get an arbiter like 270, 280, whatever. But I wouldn't say it's not good. I would just say, you know, we are capped by our own. Like, our potential is capped by our own ability to build builds. And what I mean by that is that, like, in PvP especially, you can make whatever builds you want. You just want to have, you know, like, an idea of what to expect, if that makes sense. Like, you're not going to take even the builds I have into plat. Just not. And I'm fine with that. And I might be able to make the 1 or 2 teams and break everything on my account to try to make some plat teams. I don't care about that right now. But the point is that if somebody goes, what, your camera only has 500 accuracy, what the fine. I mean, it's working for me. I literally only care about arena right now as fun, which is not fun to sweat over the stuff. And like that's a goal. You want to go into gold 3. So if you feel like that your build is keeping you from that, what I would have done in your shoes is just try to improve it, but I wouldn't beat myself up about it. And I might get a little frustrated if I ran into roadblocks or felt like I didn't have the best gear, but it is what it is, right? So it's not about, I'm not a huge fan of saying a build is good. Now there are bad builds. Let's not pretend, but I'm not a huge fan of being like, oh, you only have 254 speed. That's bad. That's not how I feel about it. If it works for you, awesome, because I've been on that end of it where I didn't have money to spend in the game. I have invested a fair amount of time in the game, but like I'm not a content creator. I don't get those free packs. I don't go enter giveaways and win 1,000 gems or whatever. Not that everyone does that, but like I don't even enter those giveaways, whatnot. So I've earned my resources for the most part, bought some shard packs and some energy packs here and there. Haven't bought in months and months and months anything significant. Other than like gym pack, whatever. And that's how it's been for me, is I've been like, this is the build I got. This is what I'm happy with. It gets me to where I want to farm in arena. Yeah, dude. I want to see this pick, but I can't really see it. 13% and I'll be level 100. And I'm thinking about, I'm slightly nervous / not sure if I would know how to make it awesome, but I kind of like the idea of a content creator I saw that did a showcase of his account at level 100. So I might do it on a video and or a stream, just for fun. But talking about builds and arena peeps, and Brojo and I were talking about Arbiter and Lysandra for a while because he has Lysandra and she's currently working in his arena team. And he was asking if Arbiter is better to replace her. My argument is yes. I explained why. I'm happy to answer questions from you or other people in chat, but I won't beat a dead horse as far as Brojo is concerned, because I think I offered my opinion pretty thoroughly. But let's do. I'm trying to decide. I would like some more ancients to pull, both for like the pull session, but also just to have more. That is tempting, but it's only 9, and I have trouble buying small packs like that. I'm not going to buy that for... those are not good. That's only 7. So I'm thinking maybe I like... I think maybe I get the 11 pack. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Because I have 1,600. I can get it some more gems. Let's do it. And then pull... So that puts me at 36, right? Yeah, so annoyingly that won't be... Hell, let's just do them all solo. And let's do this chat first. Is the upgrade big enough over getting those rolls as new in your opinion? I think there's another chat coming, maybe. No worries, no worries. I'm not, just to be clear, not making fun of your English. It can be hard in general, even with good English, to read the text. So I just want to know what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not picking on you at your grammar or whatever. I'm assuming you're saying, so I don't know what you mean by those roles. That has nothing to do with how you said it. Just like the roles, meaning like basically revamping your speed farm team. So like maybe if you use a specific role or a champion name, that would help me understand. But I think I know what you're getting at. The other 2 champions, Mithrala and Lydia. Okay, so I am on the right track. Talking talk to me about your arena. Yes. Lydia Mithral. That's the chat's a little bit delayed, but I was on the right track. So I'll wait a sec for the chat to catch up. But tell me what your struggle. If maybe you're fine. If you're fine in arena, you can just say I'm good with my arena. I don't need to progress. Whatever. If you're struggling, how are you struggling? And if you have goals that you're not meeting in arena, what would they be? If you're fine with arena, then yeah, don't do arbiter first or whatever, because that's how I've always treated my account. I've literally let champions like Roto sit in my vault for a while after I pulled him, because I was like, I'm just going to build him. I'm just going to have to try to slot him in somewhere. I'm going to wait until I actually get to a point where I need this person, if that makes sense. So I'm like, is arbiter great? Yeah. Am I going to build her the second I get her? Hypothetically speaking, no, not if I don't feel like I need her. And it's tough to 60 a champion. By the way, Matthew, my face cam died. I'm surprised the camera died that fast, but it did. So yeah. So I just went full screen raid. So yeah, there's so many factors to account for, Brojo, but what I'm going to say is, if you don't think you can build this, this is what I'm going to suggest. The thing is that maybe it's just my own, like, whatever, an analysis, perception of content creation, and like, even not even content creators, but like people's advice in discords or clan discords or clusters. It's just all over the place, and people talk like things are gospel or, written in stone law, and it's just not accurate what they're saying. So there's a lot of factors about your account, what you want, who you're willing to prioritize gear on, and things like that could change this answer. So this is not a one size fits all, just not. I would suggest that something close to, like, if you can't build an arena nuker with at least like 4,500 to 5,000 attack and an appropriate amount of crit damage to the correct ratio in Savage, then don't go breaking people and redoing your arena team, because I feel like you kind of need that. Because, like, if you're saying you're losing to Duchess teams, I'm just legitimately trying to kind of remember what it's like at level 70, because my account has grown so gradually that I'm like the frog stuck in cold water that slowly cranks up to boiling, and now I'm like just kind of used to what I'm dealing with. So I know that you're not going to be able to build a Duchess in arena like I can, for a lot of reasons, including just your exposure to how many times you've run dungeons at level 20 or 25. But at the same time, I also don't want to say, oh, well, yeah, just go ahead and do arbiter, and, then go ahead and build a nuker with 6,000 attack and, 200 speed, because that's not reasonable. So I'm trying to remember what it's like. And I'm not super familiar with your account. Obviously, there is a variance. There are people who get really lucky with champions and gear, and people who get unlucky, and people in the middle. So I would say, if you can't do that, if you can't build at least 4,500 with the correct amount of crit damage, not 150 or something too low, or 5,000 being much, much, much more ideal in Savage to get the job done, then I'd probably just use Lissandra for now. Because there's so many factors. I feel like we could sit here for 30, 40 minutes and argue back and forth, debate back and forth what's better. But I get what you're saying. And, like, no, maybe you could get more use right now out of somebody other than Arbiter, and just have Arbiter in your short-term back pocket, if that makes sense. Right. So, and the reason that I say that is I was sitting here thinking through a number of the factors, not even all of them, and I'm thinking, what would be something that could happen on Brojo's account where I'm like, Brojo, for sure, go ahead and do Arbiter, give her books, max her out, give her your fastest gear, and then your team is like, it's not working. What are those things that can make it not work? Your nuker not being hitting hard enough would make a speed team not work, because it's not what you're looking for with Arbiter is to not have to back down from most teams, to at least hit an average of 7 to 8 teams per page. If you're losing to Duchess teams, that doesn't even necessarily mean it's a mega defensive team. Obviously, Duchess is a very good defense champion, but that means that you're, like, struggling in a different part of the progression vastly from what I'm at right now, which makes sense. I'm level 99, you're level 70. Just to be clear, it has nothing to do with comparing accounts. It's not a competition. But like I said, I just want to make sure that I don't give you level 90 plus advice for level 70 that then is frustrating for you, if that makes sense. So if you can't do that, I think you deal with what you have, because once you can do that, you can say like, no, I'm going to throw my best gear and my best champions into arena because I'm going to grind the shit out of this and get my great haul maxed out. But you need to know that your nuker and your team and your setup can get the job done 9.8 times out of 10 before you start investing those resources and that 60 and those legendary books and that gear and breaking other champions into that, if that makes sense. And I'll leave it at that unless you have any other questions. Let's pull some of these while we're chatting. I would love to get a legendary just for the hell of it, because I can't book or build a legendary right now. I mean, unless they're amazing. Yeah, dude, pulling right now. Are you in? I assume so because you're chatting. Didn't mean to sit on that screen for so long, but yes, we'll take all the epics we can get. That's a lot more points. Let's go. What is that from 10? Yeah, 10 to 250. That's crazy. Pulling epics on ancients is maybe the best bang for your buck when it comes to this event. Yeah, the chat is behind, I'm aware. But yeah, I was sitting on that screen for a while. I guess I could have pulled shards one at a time, but I wanted to answer Brojo's question and give it some thought. Another epic. Let's go. I think Lydia. Lydia. See, here we go. I want to say Lydia, but Lydia, let's just say in general that, dude, this is a lot of epics. Oh, yes! As far as epics go, that is sick. This bitch can who does she solo? She solos somebody. I think it's Bommel. That I'm so fucking happy. I like legitimately maybe more happy than a handful of mediocre legendaries that I could pull or dupes that I already have. That's awesome. Anyway, Mithrala is going to be very good in Hydra. Very, I meant hard. Doom Tower hard. Jesus Christ. So maybe, dude, that's so hard. They're both, and that's a good problem to have, because it's really awesome that Mithrala and Lydia are sick champions, because it takes a lot of effort to get to them in their two individual contents. Lydia is unique because there's literally only 4 champions in the game, and one of them is conditional, as far as I know, without any kind of debuff spread mechanics, that actually just put on the same skill decrease defense and weaken on all enemies. Draco, Venus, Sissia, which is conditional because she puts weaken, but then the decreased defense is conditional to 2 champions, 2 enemies at least having HP burn. So that's somewhat easy to handle, but also annoyingly inconsistent. And then Dracomorph. So if you're not dealing lots of raw damage, and you're not thinking that specifically the decreased defense and weaken is like super appealing to you, because I was like grinding to get Lydia to put her in my seer team because I just couldn't get it done in high levels of Doom Tower with just decreased defense. But then I was like, oh crap, I pulled Venus a good bit before I was able to get Lydia, so I started using Venus, and Lydia is much better because she does 2 debuffs and 2 buffs on the same ability, so that's 2 buffs that are actually fairly, like, really helpful, fairly unique buffs that Seer can strip. Venus does no buffs, so she's a better choice for that team. It's not even close. But Mithrala is so good in Hydra because of Hex, and the fact that she's almost never going to get resisted because of her accuracy. You're already building her with accuracy, and then she's also going to resist stuff, which is going to be helpful for your team because she's a cleanser. The cleanse is amazing. The shield's really good. She's got double buffs on both abilities, one of which also debuffs. The Hex gives you 2 buffs as well, increase attack and increase defense, and then a little bit of poison on A1. In PvP, she's really good on defense because of her, once she puts out Hex, if they don't cleanse it, then she has a 50% chance or whatever, to, like, she has a high chance. It's higher on her, a little bit less on allies. If anybody gets attacked, there's a chance to get petrified. I have her in a tag team, go second team, and it's just super useful. Obviously, also, mentioned it briefly, but having the Hex means that you can target the Head of Mischief, and then the fact that she cleanses makes those are two really useful things. The fact that she brings increased defense, shields, and strengthen, and a cleanse and Hex are like, she's a beast in Hydra. She's not a lot of damage. The Hex definitely helps you get damage, but she's going to be there more if you're getting smacked in Hydra. You need survivability, durability kind of thing. In PvP, I think Lydia is better. I think Mithrala has the uses I just described, but Lydia is also very good in Hydra. I just think Mithrala might be better because you can get away with no weaken. You can get away with just decreased defense in Hydra, especially if you're dealing with champions like you're just bringing in nukers for normal, or you have like Walking Tomb Drang. He's not. I'm gonna keep pulling. Sorry, I'm getting distracted again. He's not doing outright damage where weaken. It does help everybody, but mostly you want decreased defense and weaken on like a double Royal Guard team or a bunch of max HP damage or whatever. Look at all these epics. Let's go. That is awesome for points. So, if based on those descriptions, I feel like you should decide. Mithrala is a beast in Hydra if you're trying to focus there. They are both good in Hydra. They are both good in PvP. I think Lydia takes the edge a little bit in PvP. I think Mithrala takes the edge a lot in Hydra. Yeah, I love the way Pestilus. I wish Pestilus was better. If Pestilus got buffed into like an ally attack, because for some reason he looks like an ally attack champion to me, that would be sick. Pestilus, I'm actually going to go appreciate how cool his model looks right after this, because you said that, and I've thought Pestilus looked dope for a long time. I actually wanted to like put him in a team. I'm so happy I pulled this chick. I swear to God. Not just to be a booby simp, but like that's a really cool outfit too. Like that, she looks sick as fuck. But let's go appreciate the Pestilus. I think it's this. Just looks so cool. So fucking cool. And it's like embers like on fire a little bit. She stole Thylesia's leggings. Wait. Because I see what you're saying. Because Thylesia's just got these like long, mostly naked legs. Oh no, they have that. No! I remember wrong. They're like the same. I see what you mean. Like it's the same. She's ripped off her style. Yeah, that would be cool too. Of course, because he's an ember. He looks like an ember. All right, let's pull some more. I feel kind of like I might get a legendary. Good God, let's go. OG, dude, I'm so happy to get these points right now. I feel like I might pop a legendary. It's kind of weird. Oh my God. Here I am. Wait, how many? I had 36. Hold on. I'm opening my 36, right? So I pulled 17. Yeah. Give me a sec. I'm opening my RSL helper because I have a shard tracker. I forgot that I hadn't opened that up, and I'm pulling a bunch of ancients that are not getting tracked. You don't want to see how I handle floor 47, my brother. Is this on normal? I mean, hell, I'm not probably going to rebuild people like on the fly right now, but I don't mind using, like, tell me who you got, and I'll see if they're in a build or if I can throw gear on them real quick or something like that. All right, I'll check it. I actually already beat hard. Let me, let's see. All right, here we go. Let me add 17 to my shard tracker. So 68 ancients. And then like, no. What the? Come on, dude. That's really annoying. Yeah, 17. Okay. And then like 1. Because we just pulled an epic. All right. Here we go. Yeah, I'll switch right after this, dude. and show you like floor 47 and my roster is somewhere in Discord. No, you don't need to. I mean, you can repost it, but if you don't have the screenshot, you have to take another one. Don't worry about it. I can scroll up to it. I can even like have it on my screen where I can see it in tandem with my raid is not in full screen. I don't even like it in full screen actually. I think it's because I'm used to looking at it on my phone. Another epic. Okay, I have like 70 of her, but I will take 250 points. Just meant like if you knew, I don't mind looking at your roster, but like if you know off the top of your head who you're working with, or you're like, this team should work, but I can't get it to work, that kind of thing. If we'll talk about it when I get to 447. I was just saying, obviously, I just have a seer team clear it, and 47 is not a hard floor. I mean, I don't remember it exactly, but I pulled Krisk, so he's kind of a cheat code. Whenever the floor is too hard, I put in my seer plus Krisk team, and just knock the shit out of stuff. So I was saying it would be more helpful probably for you to see me make a build on the spot, or not a build, but like a team comp on the spot sort of, and see what slightly more accessible or like more reasonable builds can handle that floor. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'll look at it. And that might be a floor you have to cheese. And when I'm sure you might be familiar with that, but just like you might have to run it several times with like a team preset and just rely on RNG and see. Obviously, there's a certain level where you can't just hope RNG will save you from sucking on the floor. But if you have like stun sets, for example, and you have a decent strat, decent builds, and you're like, God, Umbra will never get stunned or whatever, you can kind of RNG yourself into that maybe. This has been a good amount of epics. I'm happy with this. Can I get a legendary in the last few? Maybe. Alright, hold up. Wait. Yeah, we can do that. I don't know why I got distracted from doing this earlier. Making sure all rares and the people who are actually meant to be feeding. I'm literally going to burn myself completely out of these shits. There we go. Alright, 2 more. Wish me luck. Sorry, man, but I've literally not needed him anywhere. I know he's good. I just haven't needed him anywhere or have had people... There we go. Oh well, it's all right. But so it's not that he's not as strong. My account doesn't really need him. And every single time I go to do legendary books, I don't want to 60 him. He needs his books. He may not need every single book, but he needs books to at least land on 1 or 2 skills. He's arguably much better with all like fully booked than even partially booked, but he can be doable with partially booked. I didn't need him in a clan boss team. I don't have the resources or don't desire to drop the resources in him to make him really good and maybe even have resistance for like a tag team arena defense or whatever. So the biggest thing is that I don't want to 60. He's well worth a 60, and even he's probably worth building 2 of for some people. But since I don't use him in clan boss, I keep wanting to book someone else. That's really what it mainly comes down to. There are other factors I just mentioned. Let's eat 1 of each of the void and sacred. Come on, man. It could have at least been an epic. Here we go. Gold. If you can see my face cam right now, I just died. Hey, I'll take the points, but man, fuck that guy. Fuck him. Yeah, but I already did that fusion. This guy sucks. Now, I will be, to be honest, I could have used him when I was really struggling to beat 20 or 21 in Undead because of this ability. No, not that ability. Well, that turn meter definitely helps. But puts the target skills on cooldown, then puts duplicate skills on cooldown. That's really good against the Valkyries. But, yep, the points though. Yeah. see, that's what I'm talking about. That's the optimism we're looking for. I get to complain for a second that it's basically a completely trash legendary, but we all agree that the points, though. Yes. Let's see what I'm at. Let's go! That's okay. That's amazing. That's fucking dope. Yeah, I know you meant the void rare. Yeah. Bloodhorn. Stupid bitch. There we go. Done. I am probably going to pull something for that book. If I do it tonight, I'll do it on stream. But let's go look at floor. I didn't even have one either. It would have been so much better if it had been a dupe. You couldn't get all of these people I have that are mediocre. Like, Nethral's not mediocre. He's just, like, been power crept a little bit. I would love a dupe of Harvest Jack. Duh. But that's from a Void Shard. Like, a dupe UDK, a dupe Rotos, duh. Even a dupe Saito, a dupe Skartorsis. But I had to get a Legius. Although Skartorsis wouldn't help me because I already have a dupe of his dumbass. He's probably slightly better than Elegius, though. So, floor 47. Here we go. Nice. Dude, if I can figure out my secret room thing, you saw I have 98 of Uros, and I really want to pull him. I don't know, though. Like, maybe I should hold him for CVC. Because I can get away with pulling, like, a Sacred or something. I don't know. Anyway, let me focus. Talking to myself here. Stay focused. So, this is my team. On hard. Excuse me. On hard. I mean, I'll run it. So you can, like, be impressed. But it's not what you're working with right now. You can see what it can be one day, though. The second one's slower because Renegade's speed is slow, Kymar's stupid fast, and Renegade doesn't fully decrease the cooldown. She does it by 2 turns, so they have to cycle a couple times, but then this one will be really fast like the first one was, because the first one is nothing's on cooldown. The second one is Kymar, or the third wave is Kymar resetting, which fully resets, and then it's like boom, 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 done. But if we go back, let's say edit team. And see, let's make a team like what you're working with. So my Magnar's a little better, but we'll put him in. And then you said, let me see what you said. Helicath. I'm gonna put in Demitha to represent Helicath, I guess. I don't know that that's great, but it might be okay because she's got. Where the hell is she? Is she in the vault? Because I can't touch her build because of clan boss. She is really fast, probably faster than your Helicath, but only has 1 turn to block damage, so it might work. And then you said Godseeker, okay. My Godseeker's not that great, to be honest with you. But that might be a good thing for this showcase. And then, okay, give me an idea of, yeah, Demitha's like almost 300 speed. She's like 286 or 290 or something like that. But again, like she has other utility. Maybe I can try not to use it. Like she has a increased buff duration. I won't use that because we're trying to replicate a Hellcat. And I know we don't have to only replicate your team, but I do want to try it first. So who were your other 2 that you're messing around with? If I'm looking at this team, we need a debuffer. So you said Thylesia. You said yours is not good. Mine's not good either. So let's do that. Sorry for the yawn. And then who might you be working with? I actually, you know what? I'm going to say let's do control. So I'm going to put in Syl. Do you have Syl yet? Let's try this. I'm going to manual it just because I don't have a team preset. I don't want a Demitha to use her extension and all that shit. Ah! They're not manually. Man-eater, that's interesting. Okay. So Godseeker can increase, but Hellcat doesn't give heal, so I won't do that yet. So we need to control Umbrals, obviously. We stunned one. So I'm going to try to whack. So the other Herbal's going to get off provokes. Oh! Yeah, that's not looking good. War Mothers has crushed our hopes and dreams. So, okay, so look. I'm going to end that. I'm not giving up, but watch this. We're going to do something different. We're going to wait on that. Now, with Helicath, you would have had 2 turns, so you could still probably wait, but it also wouldn't have gone away like it was going away on the people from a 1-turn block damage. You have no... That's tough. Alright, so let's pop her, I guess. Hope for a better stunnage from Syl. We stunned the same one again. So now we go... Oof. I want to smash her. Yeah, there we go. Oh, wow, that did actually less damage. So now, if we watch... Oh, she didn't get debuffed. Oh, wrong affinity. Ha. So, yeah, but then she's going to get provoked. Okay, I don't know how Demitha didn't get provoked, but now she's dead. Why did it decrease? It was at 2 turns. Yeah, man, that's brutal. Huh. I don't know why she didn't pick her up. That's a good question. Excuse me. I'm going to put Arbiter... No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I just want to see how much difference Weaken is going to make. I think it's going to be a lot. I'll even use Venus. Show that she doesn't have the buffs too. Stun might be your only option, and you could put Staltus in a Doom Tower build. Like, you obviously want him to smack as much as possible, but you could try to put him in a stun build. The thing is that Doom Tower hard, I don't think is generally considered level 70 content. So more power to you for pushing it, but it's going to be difficult, and you're going to get hung up like this. And some rotations, you're going to get stuck permanently for that rotation, and it just kind of is how it is. So don't beat yourself up. You want him doing no damage. Oh, then you should... I mean, you still might be limited in, like, how much EHP or whatever you can get on a build, but... Yeah, then you just build him in a ton of accuracy, a ton of speed, like, an obscene amount of speed if you can. And, tanky... Well, just don't give him crits, because if you make him... I guess you could just blow his HP as much as you can, like, but... It won't really be... Like, if you put defense on him, he will do damage when he happens to get that low chance of crit or whatever. But I want to see, like, who do you have for support, dude? And I can even show you what Mithrala can do. Honestly, let's just do that. Let's do what you said and throw Mithrala in, like the people that you were talking about. And I think Syl... Well, I'm just going to experiment. That's what we're doing here. So this might not work, but let's see. Please stun more people, Syl. Look at that. Everyone's stunned. See what I mean about RNG? Everyone is stunned. Still have no weaken. I'm not going to wait on the cleanse, but we would have had a cleanse there for the bombs. Yeah, you need Galkabar for this. Galkabar or now Thylesi just increased all those, which is amazing. We're going to use her AoE because she does a little bit of damage. And then we're going to go through whacking. We probably should have whacked Umbral's first, to be fair. That Umbral's going to die. So let's whack this War Mother because she's a bitch. And then, see, look, she got petrified. That's because of the Hex. So look, cleanse. Boom. So this is, like, Galkabar has a cleanse, but you can see this is literally your team or a team you could build, as far as I know. My Godseeker is not a crazy build. My Syl is not a crazy build. Mithrala and Magnar are builds that are more like my level. But the other ones, you could probably build the exact build I have. They're just not high priority for me. And look how easy that first wave was. Just incredibly easy. So, the RNG of Syl, she's a stunner, fully booked, in a stun set. But you should be able to do that okay. 24 with no gear or books. Again, put her in a stun set, see what the RNG will do for you. But you don't have to have her there. You could have any stunner. She's helpful because of the passive heal when she has a turn and for the revive. But you could also, I think that it would be like, let's just do this wave with only her A1. So you get the heal, but you don't get her stuns. Let's just see what happens. Damn it, that Umbral resisted. But what I was saying, and my brain does, I do tangent a bit, sorry. But what I was trying to say is that I looked at Galkabar's kit, and I don't have it memorized, but he looks sick, and he has a cleanse too. So Mithrala has a cleanse where my Mithrala is going to resist everything these people throw unless they get a lucky 3% on her. So that helps. Galkabar would have to be built with that because he doesn't convert his resistance into accuracy, and therefore, or sorry, his accuracy into resistance, and therefore have a crap ton of resistance. But this reflect damage is going to be a bitch. So you almost want like maybe Madam would be better here if your Godseeker can keep people picked up. Because Madam could take those buffs off of them. Right now, if Magnar does an AoE, which he can't because he's double provoked, but you get what I'm saying, he would kill himself. Yeah. Oh, right. So that might, I don't know, dude. Like, Mithrala is so good because of once the Hex is out there, look at this. 2 of them are already petrified. Galkabar can't do that. But Galkabar strips and cleanses his allies, I believe. So I think that I think he might be a piece that you're missing here. So look, Mithrala, again, who you have, is going to cleanse everyone. Put shields up and strengthen. Now Godseeker can go and extend those, and I have enough accuracy. She's taking away their buffs. Like, it's kind of trivializing this one as well. And I haven't done any stuns with Syl, just to prove that Syl can be whoever you want, kind of. Provoke on them? Absolutely. Like, why would it not work? It would only not work if you don't have enough accuracy. And Thylesia combos with the Hex. So Thylesia, like, Mithrala is not going to really ever miss Hex unless she gets really unluckily 3%ed. But Thylesia in the turns in between, like the one turn in between, she could end up stacking one. What skill is hurting? Explain that. What do you mean? You don't know what skill is. Let's say Nari could lower accuracy and resist and maybe provoke. I do know Nari, but I'm not super familiar. Nari, I think, has like a, what is it? Decrease resistance and increase accuracy on the same move or something like that. I don't know, man. If that's what you need, then you try to build a team around it, but I feel like you could get more value out of other people. And what do you mean, maybe I missed the time you said, I don't know what skill is hurting. Like hurting you, or what's going on the screen right now with you watching my attack? And Hex makes damage tick to everyone, so that really adds up when you're chipping down people. Oh, I mean, is it not the bombs? You're not getting killed by her A1, dude. War Mother. Provoke. I see what you're saying. You're not getting killed by default skills. Yeah. I get it now. You're not getting killed by default skills. Yeah, we'll go look at it in a sec. just because I like to memorize as much as I can about the game. So I haven't even been using Syl to make a point. I'm going to use her this one to just speed it up. But then I'm not going to use block damage is annoying, but Godseeker can, if necessary. She can strip it in a second. Oh, right here. Now when Magnar comes back around, he's going to body a couple of them. Maybe not kill him, but yeah. So that's basically a wrap. It's auto. Like, we did it slow because we're like talking and pausing and stuff, but like that, this is not in, like, the Mithril is quite good. I think she's fast and has good stats, but I don't think that part of her build being good is what's making this run work. And this run is like, it's probably like a 4-minute run. And like, look at this. She has War Master. You can get that. She has a 1-star Brimstone. Technically, that's luck, but you could save up and try to buy it once you have Mithrala. But it's only a 1-star, and she got 506 because Hex does so much damage. And I think it counts the Hex damage toward her. Magnar can be any nuker. Obviously, Magnar is very good for very specific reasons, but you could sub in any nuker. The thing is, you get an attack nuker with no increased attack. That's going to get a little interesting. And Syl, we didn't even use on the second wave to prove a point. That can be anybody. Hopefully that's like helpful. But let's go look at War Mother, and then I'll look at King Galkabar and just like mention. All right, so War Mother. I don't know what. No, I know she's not there. What the hell? Okay, War Mother. There you go. It's A2. And then A3 is blowing up the bomb. That's probably what killed my Demitha. She's under increased attack. I don't remember if there's increased attack on that thing, but it just instantly detonates bombs. Cool thing is it doesn't say her bombs. It says all bombs. And there's a lot of bomb champions that have been released recently, so that could be kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. I kind of wish I had a War Mother. Not from just looking at this now. I wish that since bombs became slightly better and they're useful against Bommel, although she's wrong affinity for Bommel, but like still. Even in arena, pair her with a Gaius could be crazy and definitely fun on like an offense team or something. Then Galkabar. Oops. I literally don't know why my brain is just like gallivanting somewhere else, and I'm clicking. I know where King Galkabar is. So it's different skills, which is perfectly fine. Oh yeah, and block buffs. So no unkillable on Umbral on either level. Like this is your. Yeah, I'll check Nari. This is your answer, your immediate answer, and then Mithrala is like maybe who you were leaning toward after our conversation anyway. So if you get stuck, and you end up farming, normal for a week, and then you know, I'm not saying you can get Mithril in a week, but you know what I mean. Like, if you were to get really stuck, even after trying Galkabar, then I would definitely give Mithril a shot. And even reconvene with me if you forget like what exactly I tried to do there. But I think Galkabar is for sure your answer. You're missing the Hex, but not fully because you'll have Thylesia, and hopefully you have one that you can make one fast enough. I mean, she should be fast for your arena. You might actually have to rebuild her, though, because she might be too fragile from your arena build. But then Nari. That's a 4-turn. That's so annoying. I really wish that was a 3-turn. Oh, it's decreased accuracy and decrease. You said that. I was thinking it was increased accuracy, but he doesn't have any increased accuracy in his kit. He's increased by a buff on each ally. Okay, one random buff from a random enemy to a random ally. That seems so weird, but he's Nari the Lucky, so it makes sense. I don't think he's useful in Hydra at all. At all. Because me pushing, hitting a little bit above my pay grade in Hydra has made me very, very, very carefully prioritize champions. And like, he's barely doing one role. You don't really need decreased resistance, because Hydra, as you noticed from doing well last rotation and not doing well this rotation, it changes so much that you really can barely build around one champ. You can build around Duchesses. You can build around Krisks. Although Duchess does struggle against like Blue Head of Wrath, for example, even Green Head of Wrath sometimes. But you can build around a Krisk. You can build around your nuke. Like if you're like, Royal Guard is in the team. Husk is in the team. Geomancer is in the team. Fine. But somebody like this, you'd have to have like to take advantage of the decreased resistance. I don't even, let's see, has unique cheeses, stats, mischief, head tank. Okay, fair enough. But if you're playing Hydra the way you want to be pushing, you don't let you're already countering Wrath another way, probably by just having block buffs up all the time on pretty much every goddamn rotation. So, the stats thing is what I was getting to, though. I'm trying to keep track of like what my line of conversation, but also you when you send a message. You have to build a team around that decreased resistance to make use of it, because let's just say you go, I'm just going to build a team. I'm going to throw him in. Decrease accuracy is nice. That will make it less likely for mischief if he misses my mischief tank or, the 3% or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It'll make it less likely for mischief to steal. It's not that useful. It can be helpful if you really are really struggling on like normal or hard, and you need that decreased accuracy out because you want the head of Blight to not smash you with so many poisons, because if you don't have like chunky builds, that can actually be a pain. That's a lot of poisons. But there's a lot of like the torment, and then I think maybe even I don't think you can resist the heal reduction that head of decay or head of suffering, whichever one it is. I think it's decay. I'm not sure exactly, but one of them hits your lowest HP champion and puts a heal reduction. The true fear from torment and I think the heal reduction are not resistible, so decrease actually doesn't help there. It does have its use. It's mostly useful against mischief, but again, you can't rely. Your Hydra run can derail in a set of less than a full cycle of turns, like less than 5 turns. You have a 6-person team. In 4 or 5 turns of your own team, the one thing or 2 things going wrong in that short amount of time can ruin your whole run. It can end it right there, or it can make it where you can't recover to the point of like getting the amount of damage per 5 or 10 turns that you need to get a 1 key. So the decreased accuracy is not even something you can rely on, because you should have a mischief tank that you can slot into different teams, including one without Nari the Lucky, so it needs to have enough resistance to resist mischief with no decreased accuracy. That's the first point. The second point is the decreased resistance. To really take advantage of that, since that's decreasing their ability to resist your debuffs, is to have a whole team built with better stats in other areas, whether it's attack stat, defensive stat, speed, whatever, and have less accuracy. But the second you take Nari out of the team, that team is ruined. And because of Hydra rotations shifting so much, there's different heads in, and there are different affinities and different rotations. This kind of champion feels useless to me, because it feels like you build him, you find the rotation he's good in where red is a good affinity for him, and you have a team built around him with less accuracy because he has decreased resistance, and you're like, dude, he's the best, I love Nari, and then the very next rotation he's useless, if that makes sense. So I'm just like, I thought decreased resistance was so cool when it came out, and I still think it could be cool in Arena, but it's like you kind of need a 5-man team in Arena to get some of these champions in. Maybe they're going to do that. They keep talking about improving and making PvP exciting. Maybe they'll do a 5-man Arena setup or a 6-man Arena setup, but until then, it's like you need too many other way more important roles filled than decreased resistance debuffer. That's just like such a specific, this team always goes with Nari type of thing. And like you could say, oh, but like, yeah, you're correct about him mischief tanking, but this is a 2-turn buff on a 4-turn cooldown. That's not nearly enough. And mischief is too fast, and the second this counter attack drops off, mischief is going to go for a different champion, and then that other champion is at minimum going to give head of mischief turn meter. Maybe if you have block buffs up, he steals the buffs but doesn't acquire the buffs onto himself, but he'll get the turn meter, which means he's going again before you have a chance to spend 2 turns with Nari getting back to the counterattack, if that makes sense. And not to like be on a rant to shit on Nari. I think he's a unique champion. I just don't. Those are the reasons I do not think he's useful in Hydra. Because like the thing that you said is valid, right? Like the cheese, the stats, mischief, head tank, steals buff on the counters from Wrath. I'm not trying to invalidate those things. I'm just saying that I have found out through my experience and through smacking my own hand on my desk in frustration trying to get the damn Hydra to work, like my teams, that things like this, things like this decreased resistance only being useful in certain scenarios like I described. One, because he's affinity based, so he's going to weak hit spirit all the time. not every time he hits, but like a lot, enough to make this a real pain. And then this, you'd be like, if some of these, if he were void, that would make a big difference. It would not change increased resistance being a bit finicky, but it would make a difference. If this were on a 3-turn, or somehow he'd be way OP, but if this were somehow on a 2-turn, 2 turns for on a 2-turn cooldown, so you could keep it up all the time, that'd be insane. But if it were like that, even if it were on a 3-turn, then you could say, like, maybe let's say it was a 2-turn provoke, or even like Molly, a chance to 2-turn provoke on a 3-turn cooldown with counterattack on him for 2 turns. That's much better, because even if it's a 1-turn provoke, you want it to be a 2-turn, because you want to have like a provoke available at least every other turn, hopefully, in theory, whatever. But the fact that it's a 4-turn makes the provoke come around every 4th turn for 1-turn provoke, and the counterattack isn't even reliable for a Mischief Tank. Anyway, I won't. I tend to over-explain, so I apologize for that. I'm a detail person, so sometimes I give details that may or may not be, I could be beating a dead horse, as I said. Anyway. So let me get what you're saying here. Where I can't hit my stat points, running buff increases seems pretty common for Hydra. I thought too. I don't know what you mean by buff increases, but buffing versus debuffing, lots of okay. What do you mean follow after? You tend to do the same and follow after. Lots of dead horses between us. Yeah. Or beaten dead horses, because we're not even the one killing the horses. We're just the ones beating them to prove that they're dead. Anyway, at least you can kind of appreciate it, because some people find it annoying. I'm not intending to be annoying, but it is what it is. Yeah, so that's fair enough about the resistance tank. The thing is that I express my opinion from my experience, right? And I'm not saying that you're arguing with my opinion. Just like, if you want to use Nari, by all means, you should use Nari. But yeah, no, I appreciate you replying in that order. You're easy to explain things to, because sometimes when people interject little things all throughout and the chat's delayed and all that, it makes it difficult. But the thing I was saying is that, like, I feel like there's a bunch. Now, you might only have certain. See, there's always all these nuances, which is what makes this game as frustrating as Plarium can be, and as frustrating as certain content can be, and as brutal as it can be to be a free-to-play or mega low spender. It's intriguing because there's so many facets to the game. Every time I go to explain something, I'm thinking of all the reasons that could possibly not work. And every time it comes back to, what do you have on your account? So the way I've looked at it is, if I have a subpar option on my account, I'm still going to be what I consider to be a subpar option. I'm going to be very careful to level it and invest resources, because I don't want to outgrow it and vault a 660 fully ascended built out champion with masteries. It's part of the game for a lot of people, and it's been part of the game for me, but I don't want to do that much, because obviously the less you do it, the more you're being efficient with resources. That's how I like to play the game. Other people may disagree. You may think Nari is the sickest looking champion. You may have a thing for dwarves. You may have a thing for harlequins, like whatever. It's perfectly valid to think a champion's badass, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. That may not be the case with you and Nari, but even if it were, play the game in a way that's fun for you. With that being said, even with running a buff extender, my problems with him are not just his counterattack. You have better provokers, you have better debuffers, and I think the debuffs he brings are not as useful as decreased speed, decreased attack, decreased defense, block buffs, or a better provoker for Head of Decay. Just those at least. Obviously, Weaken's very good. Heal reduction is not worth a shit, but for certain champions, having a higher number of buffs, like Contra can throw up. Contra the Cyclone can throw up Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Heal reduction, and that affects her passive, which has if a certain enemy has a certain number of debuffs, then she has a 75% to provoke them at the beginning of every turn. So that's really good, because you don't care for that Head of Decay if he has heal reduction. You're like, well, that's a useless debuff in Hydra. Not really, because it's helping Contra provoke Head of Decay or whatever. And since it's a place, it doesn't matter about affinity. And since it's a passive thing, it can happen every turn. There's no cooldown, blah, blah, blah. But I still think Nari is, like, I hear you, but I raise you a point. I think you can have a better person in his slot. I think he just doesn't do enough for your team. And I have noticed that sometimes a team that looks very strong on paper, and you go in, and whether it's that you can't get everybody as fast as you want or as tanky as you want, then you change one role out of the 6 and the team just smacks. It's weird like that. But let's see. Yeah. So we mostly agree. Like you seem pretty well informed for a level 70. Like you have found good information in the game and you're a good learner. Yes, he sounds way more useful to me in PvE. Like, I guess Hydra is technically PvE, but in Doom Tower, way more because you can build a team around him. With Hydra, the team's constantly changing. Even if you say, because of these problem floors, I have to have 2 or 3 Doom Tower wave clear teams, you can still build a team around him and around anybody you want. Because you can build a team and not touch it. You know what I mean? It's just a different thing. Hydra, the very essence of Hydra is RNG. And so it's RNG in the run. It's RNG what head's going to pop back up. It's RNG whether or not you're going to get that provoke off half the time, even with good provokers. There's just so much RNG. It's RNG if the head of mischief is going to 3% you. You know, it's RNG if you're going to get the mastery on your Krisk or your Duchess or your support that, gives them a little bit of turn meter because an ally got crit. There's just all these things. And I listed the big things first. Like, if you have your team built and don't really have a counter for Torment, and then Torment spawns in randomly one time and it ruins your whole run. Whatever. But Oboro is the easiest and maybe the best Hydra tank. I'll show you mine. How about that? Real quick. So I have a tendency to not level people to 60 except through masteries. And I have a tendency, based on the same kind of thing I was saying about being super efficient with resources, like to do this, where if I don't have a mastery I need for what they're doing, I don't pick it, because then if I pick it, then I have to reset for free or for 150. Either way it costs you, because at least it costs you either your one free one or it costs you 150 gems next time. If or maybe it costs you 150 gems if you already used your free one. But I tend to do this right here where you can see that I only have enough for one of tier 5 and then the tier 6. So that's the case with a lot of my mischief tanks are down here, not even quite level 60. But they're basically fully done. I just know that when I go in to get masteries, they're going to get XP, so they'll probably finish off to 60. Here's my Oboro, no masteries. She could definitely use masteries, but I had built her when I didn't have the energy to do masteries. So so yeah, she's built without masteries, but she's got pretty good stats. 500 resist. I would probably try to get, because she only has she kind of has weird skills that potentially only hit one target. She can get an AoE on her A1 if she hits somebody with 4 or 5 or more buffs, something like that. But I just don't know if War Master's worth it on her when you could up her resistance to 550. But she has no mastery, so she could easily get the defense tree resistance mastery and go up quite a bit higher. And then I try to give her a little bit of stats. Obviously no crit rate, but she has okay defense. She's not a defensive champion. Okay, Jesus, I can't speak. HP. And then really, really low speed, so she holds all her buffs. So I'm just relying on Ugos and what have you, little heals here and there, because she's so slow she doesn't cycle turns a lot. And if you could build one, in Guardian with more HP and more defense, that'd be even better. But then I have this guy's a surprisingly good, not quite as reliable as Oboro, and I can't keep him as slow because I need him also provoking. But I gave him the mastery that can did I not actually yet? Hold on. Where is it? So he's supposed to have this. I need to give him a few more masteries. He's supposed to have this to give himself a 30% chance to extend his own strengthen. But on this skill, this is very useful. He puts strengthen on himself, and that gives him, I have him in a blood shield as well to kind of combo. He tanks mischief actually pretty freaking well. There's a sweet spot, I'm sure, for him being too slow or too fast and then falling out of sync with mischief, but this rotation doesn't start out with mischief anyway. So and mischief is strong affinity to him, so it works out because mischief kind of wants to attack. I guess the affinity won't change the buff count, but like if there are people with the same amount of buffs, it's supposed to be random, but who knows. Then I didn't mean to X out of my locker. Then I have Wuji. Wuji's interesting because Wuji's kind of fragile, but I really like her because her kit is super synergistic and much more entertaining and helpful and synergistic in Hydra than... Where the hell are you? Why am I like just missing her? It's a lot more synergistic and entertaining, I feel like, than... I literally can't find her. Than Oboro. Is she already 60? Is that why? Yeah, she is. Okay. And she does have masteries? Yes, she has War Master. So I think she's lower than 500. Yeah, 479. So she's like a little low, needs a few glyphs for hard, but for brutal, but works pretty well on hard. You can get away with 450 as a risky Mischief tank, but doable if you're willing to cancel a run because she got, her buff stolen one or two too many times. But she has 100% crit rate, and that was about as good as I could do. A little bit of attack, very low HP as you can see, but she is not as slow as Oboro. She's like 180 something, is that right? 184. And she's a really cool champion, but let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of the chat too as well. So you said use Oboro. I already saw that. Torment's your pet. Chamois touch. So yes, I have a hard time with Shamael because of the same thing I said. If I'm trying to get 1 keys on Brutal with Shamael, I have to have 5 bosses in there that do so many things, because as good as Shamael is, especially on this rotation when Torment doesn't start, when Torment starts, it's a no-brainer. You have to have Perfect Veil, a lot of it, maybe even with a debuff or with a buff extender, or you have to have Chamois. But I have a Chamois. I have him in resistance, so he can double. He can be my backup Mischief tank. He's in a Blood Shield ring with resistance, and he's in Guardian too. But the thing with him is that that's all he does. That's all he does. He's not a reliable or even a good primary Mischief tank for obvious reasons. His little Blood Shield ring gives him this teeny weeny shield that if he gets hit before Mischief goes, then he loses it, and he's not even going to tank Mischief anymore. And as good as it is to completely neutralize Torment, he can't be the only thing you have, or it's at least risky, because if he gets eaten early, or even if it gets eaten at the wrong time during the run with the wrong 4 heads up, then you could be screwed for a little bit. Obviously, you can just hope for the best with that, but it's just hard because he doesn't do anything else, and you're trying to get so many debuffs out there and so many buffs on your team and blah, blah, blah. Tatura is interesting because doesn't he True Fear himself when he does the thing that protects from True Fear? So I guess you just like use his A1 after that, but it does kind of suck a little bit. It's definitely not worth like ditching him as a champion. But I don't have mine built yet. And you said, doesn't she need 100% crit for her kit? Is that referring to Oboro? Yeah, I know he does Perfect Veil, but he does an AoE on the Perfect Veil one, right? So he True Fears himself when he puts out Perfect Veil, unless he does it under someone else's Perfect Veil. Yeah, okay. Why would Oboro need 100% crit? I might be just have completely missed on something. Oh, so no. For this, right here, places Perfect Veil on the champion for 2 turns for attacks critical. Both of these buffs are buffs that are new. Not new. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Not new. Unique. They're not buffs that I run in a team. Really, ever. If Mashalad happens to be on the team, I can usually just sub in a different one. Right. This is an interesting point. The thing, here's probably why I didn't notice this before or forgot it. She only needs 1 buff, right? So she's fine with just these 2. And then you're, I'm assuming, pointing out that if she doesn't have a Veil or Perfect Veil, then she won't get the revive on death. But as far as mischief tanking goes, she doesn't need any of those mechanics. They're both helpful, but this will work. Meaning that if it's this, or don't build her as a mischief tank and give her perfect veil and revival and death, she's just not worth it except as a mischief tank. So it's better to like deal with when you get an occasional crit from her low crit rate. Cool, get 2 extra buffs. But I'm usually running her because she for a while was like before I had Krisk, she was my main mischief tank. So she's with the Duchess and potentially with a buff extender, meaning that she's getting the perfect veil from Duchess, which means the second Duchess puts it on her, whether she's buffed herself with this ability or not, boom, the passive kicks in, she pops on Revival on Death. Or she's running with Mother Cybele, which is a Force legendary fragment summon from forever ago. Fragment summon? Maybe. A fusion of some sort from Knight's Revenant that does increase defense and revive on death, so she gets the revive on death that way, if that makes sense. So I'm not using her as much anymore because I'm trying to use Bivald because he does a lot more than her, and Krisk has my Nightmare Mischief tanking on lock, so that would be why she doesn't have full crit. It definitely would benefit her, but it doesn't necessarily make her a better mischief tank as long as these are 2 unique abilities or unique buffs on your team, especially if you have a buff extender to make sure this is up until she gets the skill back, which is on a 3-turn cooldown. Yeah, exactly. If she doesn't die, she doesn't really need to revive either. Yeah, and the thing is that like what I was saying, she's not going to be on a team that doesn't have a Duchess or a Mother Cybele because they're never almost never on the same team. And I have 2 Duchesses and 1 Mother Cybele, and now I have another Reviver, so even like Ukko is in there, and even if she was on Ukko's team, no, that wouldn't give her the perfect veil and therefore wouldn't give her the extra buff, but he could revive her if she went down. No worries. Gerptuck I've used in Hydra. I wanted Gerptuck initially, I believe, in the Faction Wars because heals. I played around with a unique thing where he has a passive that says the damage thing, but this one then, no, not that one. Wait, no, sorry, it's not a passive. It's like a passive thing-ish on his A1, places continuous heal on allies under poison. So I put him in a retaliation set. That was kind of cool because he would get hit a lot and go counterattack and give everyone a continuous heal. That actually, if you're able to put him in that, especially for somewhere like Faction Wars where you're just kind of slotting him in as a super powered support, it's nice. It sucks that he only has block buffs as far as what he does to enemies, but he was working in Hydra in the early stages where I was like, dude, I have to have block buffs, and I was kind of like more like where you're talking about where you don't have all the like champions built and the OP whatever blah blah blah. What do you run him with Skull Crusher? You saying Oboro can smack? Yes, Oboro can hit really fucking hard. But you can't really build her as a mischief tank, and what I can't. Let's not say you can't, meaning a person can't. Plenty of people probably could, but I just don't know. Even if I had the gear, I don't know, man. The gear set. Yeah, you could. Isn't Skull Crusher? Well, my Skull Crusher is 550. But yeah, you could do that. Mainly, I was trying to get Skull Crusher didn't seem that helpful to me without 660 him and building him out, and I didn't want to do that. Just to be fair, but also I wanted Gerptuck I wanted him for the Faction Wars, but I'm pretty sure I don't remember exactly when I did it, but I think it was at a point where I was like just trying to decide who was the best 60 without 60ing multiple people. I was trying to 60 as few people as possible to get the faction done, if that makes sense. But now I don't even use Gerptuck because I just use double Ugo, which is actually surprisingly effective. I still could make my team faster if I would build some people, but yeah, well, he used to be the shit in Clan. He used to be seriously one of the best champions in Clan Boss, and he's just been passed on from a little bit. But anyway, let's see. Do I have any more upgrades? I'm definitely going to hop off shortly. Did we mention anything else that we were gonna? I didn't want to leave you hanging if I told you we were gonna go over something, then I forgot it. That's a kind of cool champion. This person just got knocked, or just ascended. Excuse me, knocked. I was like 4-star. That's not right, but it's because they're ascending him. I kind of want to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make a. Let's see, what do we do here? I'm gonna pull one more sacred as a farewell to the stream. Let's see. Probably go ahead and do voids because I'm completely out of void pots. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, let's just mention that quickly because we sort of covered it, but yeah, we didn't talk specifically about like the way you were asking the question. So, oh man, here, let me think the best way to explain. Not Doom Tower. Come on. The best way to explain it. I'll show you my nightmare team. Right here. Krisk. Excellent provoker, and he's really fast, so he's most of it. Backup provoke here from Husk, very reliable. Surprising, I was very surprised how reliable it was. Wait, what guy looks sick as fuck? What's up, Variant? Let me, y'all are making me a little bit ADD. Let me finish this topic so I don't leave Broja hanging, and then I'll address that. I really wish the stream chat wasn't delayed, but it is what it is, so we'll deal with it. But Husk is surprisingly reliable provoke because it's not 100%. It might be 50 or 60 or something around 40 to 60, somewhere in there provoke chance on an A1. And he's the wrong affinity, and he was still landing it. It felt like 60 to 70% of the time he even attempted it, which is awesome, and he's in Relentless. Then one of my favorite things on my account that I've done just based on the pure utility that the thing has added to my account, not just in Hydra, is I built Venus in a provoke set. She is awesome in a provoke set. You can see it there if you recognize the symbol, because she has 2 or 3 hitter A1 that you can specifically use to target one person. It's not at random, so you can target all of those hits onto the Head of Decay. She's void, so it never matters what affinity Head of Decay is. And then she has an AoE that hits once and an AoE that hits twice. So she's just the prime candidate for something like this. And mine is built fast, and she's just so awesome. So there's 3 chances: really good chance, quite good chance, small chance, but a lot of chances, if that makes sense. Like the chance to land the provoke from the set is not that great, but she gets so many damn chances that just the statistics of it work out to her being a good provoker. She would not be a main provoker like that, but she's an awesome supplemental provoker. Then so yeah, this one I was working on earlier, I had it run in like 6.5 million soon because Head of Torment came out, and it just ended in like within 1 million damage, which was really disappointing. But basically what I have on the account, if I remember correctly, is I have the Husks. They're usually supplemental provokers. I have Contra is a really good provoker. And you may not have some of these champions. I tend to try to build the champion that's going to bring me the most value, as opposed to like build the free-to-play friendly one or whatever. So she's kind of a niche champion, but she's really good for this. I rebuilt her in Reflex recently to get back to her. She only has 2 skills. But the passive I was mentioning to you has a 75% chance of placing Provoke on champions for 1 turn if they're under 5 or more debuffs at the start of a turn. So every turn she comes around that the Head of Decay has 5 or more debuffs, which is quite often, and you can make a team with a debuff extender or just with a lot of debuffs to try to make that happen to facilitate her. Every turn she has a 75% chance to provoke. Another way to do it is to build her. I like the idea of a reflex set bringing her back to her debuffing multi-hitter AoE A2. I like the synergy thought better with the reflex because she will have a 75% chance to place the provoke, which is a really high chance. if there's enough debuffs. If she gets back to her A2 enough, she's putting out 2 to 3 more debuffs on all heads at the same time, plus getting War Master procs. So that seems like better synergy to me. If you're really struggling, another thing you can do that will also allow her A1 to have a tiny chance to provoke as well, and not just her passive, is you can put her in a provoke set. She has a triple hitter AoE. That's 3 chances on hitting it. She does land debuffs on weak hits. Also, the set doesn't care if it's a weak hit or not. It's just a hit. A contact with physical damage will allow you to potentially proc the set. So she's really good potentially in a provoke set as well, which I did run her in that. I've run her in Frenzy, Provoke, and Reflex, and I think I'll stick with Reflex. Then Bivold is basically going in my team anytime that I'm having trouble provoking, and then once he's in, I'm trying to see if he can be the Mischief Tank as well. He has 465 right now. With War Master, so I think this is so he has room for like, he probably will go up to like 485 ish, and then my plan was probably at CVC to glyph him to get him close to 500, but he's a really reliable one at 465. So he's really good because if you're not familiar with him, he has a chance to provoke here. It's a 50% chance, which is okay. And then 100% chance here to provoke, and his passive says he can or not his passive. All of these say in like a passive text area that he can land leech and provoke on weak hits. Provoke can be land on a weak hit, so it's basically like in that regard, the debuffing regard is like he's a void, as far as him landing the thing not being contingent on his affinity. That's mostly how I handle it. I have some other people in provoke sets. I have the Rat King in a provoke set. I have Mother Cybele in a provoke set, which is awesome because of the way that she is. And then Molly is somebody I pulled a while ago, and I keep taking pieces of gear off her because the optimizer keeps wanting it for other people, and she's kind of like a C tier as far as how often I use her. But she has if you're not familiar with her, this skill right here places provoke on all enemies for a turn. Since it's a place, it also doesn't matter for her if the poison cloud is up, which God forbid it be up, but it also doesn't matter her affinity, and then has a 50% chance of the provoke being for 2 turns instead of 1 turn. So she's a decent option. She's the one I use the least, but she's a decent option. Usually I just try to have one of the people who has a skill-based provoke, like basically Contra, Krisk, or Bivold, and then if I can have 2, awesome. But I go with roll over provoke sets. So I'm not going to throw in multiple people with provoke sets that do the same role that then weaken the team overall. But I do try to have people like Venus is a debuffer and a damage dealer. She's in a provoke set. Mother Cybele is a debuffer and a support because she has increased defense and revival and death. And then she debuffs with an AoE with 50% chance of decreased speed. So she's a really good decreased speed champion. I have her in either a Shamael team or a Shamael team, or if there is no Shamael team, she still has like all revenge accessories, so a really good chance to counterattack just from getting hit, stuff like that. So believe it or not, I tried to make that fairly concise. There's a lot of, when you're using like 5 to 7 champions to do a role and slotting them in differently to different teams, it gets a little involved to explain it, but hopefully that's kind of what you were looking for. It's just a lot of experimenting, man, for real. And I do want to, let's do this. I think, Varen, are you still here? Did he mean this dude? Where is he? Flinger? Wasn't it Flinger? It wasn't him. Yeah, I think it was Flinger. I don't think he's still here, but that's all good. Let me know if you're still here, Brojo. Let me know if that kind of covered it. I don't want to like feel like I'm cutting you off. The top guy in my collection. That's Venus. Who was that? Who had I clicked on? He said dude. Was it Bivold? I don't think it was Bivold, but I do think Bivold looks really cool. I quite like Bivold. But yeah, I'm gonna pull. I'm gonna eat this one sacred. Hopefully, we get another goal, which would be crazy lucky. But you know, YOLO. Whenever you, because of the stream delay, I don't want to cut you off in the middle of a thought. But I am gonna go ahead and wrap up stream. So I'll pull this and then dip whenever, if you feel like that's not cutting you off in the middle of a reply. Sorry about the face cam again. I'm probably going to try to order that this week if I can, so that it has continuous power. Right now, I fully charged the battery before stream, and I guess it just died that fast. It seems like an off-brand battery, to be fair. How about this? I will look at your roster since I can't pull it up on the stream and my face cam died, blah, blah, blah. I'll do that probably pretty much right after I end the stream and message you. I'm going to try to be working on, I don't want to get ahead of myself because I can get kind of like, just that, like get this idea of this fully fleshed out 5 years down the road, something for like trying something like a YouTuber content. Yeah, no problem, man. You're welcome. But I do want to try to get some sort of something for people who decide that they want to donate. I want to find a way to give them special perks, and I think like advice or a special channel in the Discord or featuring something, whether it's takeovers or account features on stream. I'm not going to get at all like chintzy about that at the beginning, but I do want to kind of have a way that isn't cheesy or, you know, manipulative, if you will, of giving people who choose to support. Once I'm at the place of kind of accepting that, being a little more put together, I want to try to give them some perks, basically. So something like, you know, what we did tonight might be something I work into that down the road or whatever. But let's pull this one. Come on, gold. No way! Okay, that's crazy. I mean, I'm not fussed about War Chief, but that's crazy. 2 goals from back-to-back sacreds, the only sacreds we pulled? That's the legendary book. That's awesome. Yeah, way, bruh. I'm tempted to pull another one, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it at 100% of sacreds we pulled tonight for legendaries. That's crazy. I'll take it. And like, looking at the bright side, I guess, I don't really have a use for this guy, but he actually, like, it's funny. How am I going to pull this guy right after you said some shit about provoke? Like, that's hilarious. Anyway, I'm kind of at the point where, you know, you're like not in game, maybe I'm late game. Let's say late game. You know, you're late game when you start being like, you know what, there are definitely some champions that I would be pretty excited about, but a lot of legendaries I pull I'm not going to be excited about anymore. And I've never been like a big complainer about champions. I've always kind of gone to bat for the champions that people say are not as good, and I'm like, they're pretty good. But now I'm like, shit, now if I ever pull another War Chief, that's a dupe for my faction guardians. So yeah, King of Provokes acquired, exactly. Like, I think people try to mess around with him when they're really struggling in Doom Tower 2. It's actually hilarious that we're talking about provokes, and I go to pull a shard and pull one of the most provokiest of them all. Yeah, timing is perfect. Yeah, are you saying mid game you feel like you'd be about the Elegius guy, this guy we pulled earlier? Because he's pretty damn Look at him. He's saying about himself. God, his God, he's literally going, I'm terrible. Bleh. Oh, half the Legos in general. Yeah, because some of them, they need to go back through. They really do. Content creators have said this, but they really do need to stop bringing in new legendaries, and they need to go buff the ones that have been around since the beginning of the game that are irrelevant now, because they are. Sorry. Yeah, to be honest, now you don't need any more nukers. Like, everybody could use a Leorius, but Jesus Christ, you've got Trunda, Jorgid, Staltus. You don't need any more nukers. She's not anymore, though, Tila. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Had at least 3 people in here make appearances. Maybe more were lurking, hopefully. But I'm going to keep building on the momentum. Try to get better and better content. Yeah, she's amazing now. Appreciate it, Brojo. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. You're here for a while. Hopefully you got, I think you got something out of it too. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Take care and see you next time.